Episode 4. I'm Thanks for coming down to Mike's. I'm here with Eric Langford, aka Grizzz.
Grr.
What's happening, Grizzz?
How you doing, Mike?
We've got a lot of stories to tell.
We got a lot of stories. Let's get it done.
So this could be a two-parter.
Or three.
Or three. Yeah, we're gonna see how long it goes. Maybe break it up by hours, or I gotta figure out how to edit. So we'll see how long we can actually sit in these chairs and we can keep Grizz down before he has to go pee.
We're gonna have to do some editing for sure. I may not be able to contain myself and keep this rated PG-13 or NC-17 or whatever you're trying to do down here, down at Mike's.
Well, thank you. Thank you for putting a lot of work on my shoulders, and I'm going to try and pull through, because the one thing I want to do is definitely air a Grizz episode. Tonight I want to go over, I think I want to give the people a little taste of you, maybe through, a little bit of high school years, maybe just a quick summary to college, maybe what you did in college. And then, I think just after that, it's about when I met you. It's probably in our early 20s.
Yeah, that
mid
sounds
20s.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, and then, down the road, hopefully tonight we can get to the Cape Fear River. And I really want to explain that in detail. So that could almost be after the break.
Yeah, we
could run you all the way up to the break.
To explain that in detail, we really need all parties.
Well,
on
like
deck.
you said, I liked what you said, though. You said we can have him come on at a later date, and he could probably watch our episode and come on here with both of us and explain what he remembers differently.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times his head was trying to keep his boat from sinking.
Yeah, everybody's gonna have a different perspective.
Yeah.
Well, let me kick this thing off with explaining where my situation is at now, because I've been through some traumatic situations, as you know.
So you want to get into that first?
Yeah, I think so. I think if no other reason, if I can only say one thing to the world, they need to hear this to know what to look out for in the future in case anybody goes through a surgery. Because what happened to me could have easily been prevented.
Okay.
I've had a number of shoulder surgeries. I think, totaling like 9 or 10 at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It started just with a simple cartilage clean out, and it didn't really get better. I was having numbness in my hands, waking up periodically throughout the night, having to shake feeling back into them. And then after the first cartilage clean out, I did a tendon repair. Then both shoulders had to have that done. During the recovery on the second one, recovery wasn't going good. It was getting worse, and went back in for another x-ray, which revealed bone spurs that had popped up during the recovery time, during the recovery period. So they went in and cut those out. That surgery was done in Costa Rica. The first 2 were done in the U.S., then 2 were done in Costa Rica. Then I said, okay, I'm just going to come up to the U.S., find the best doctor, get one last surgery, one on each shoulder, and then that's it. Whatever happens, if that's it. I'm not doing any more surgeries. So I come up, do a lot of research, find the best doctor, I thought, and do the left shoulder. Let's see, did I do the left first or the right first? I think I did the right first, and then I did the left second. And then during the recovery of the left, I was back in Costa Rica after doing,
because that's where you lived at the time.
Yeah, I was living in Costa Rica, but I was up here for the surgery and for the PT for several months. And then, I don't know, 2 or 3 months after, the surgery and, those 2 or 3 months of doing rehab PT, and I went back to Costa Rica. And then within a week or two of being back in Costa Rica, all of a sudden I couldn't lift my arm. And I when I got back to Costa Rica, I have a woodworking shop and in the back of my house, and I was just got right into sanding and planing and cutting and building stuff. And I was like, okay, maybe I'm overdoing it. So I just kind of gave it a break. And then I started working just kind of with my other arm. And the next thing I know, I couldn't raise that arm. And I was like, okay, well, then let me just give my arms a break. And a week went by. And then all of a sudden, my left ankle just blew up. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I got bit by a spider or something. I didn't.
Yeah.
Just kept coming up with excuses because I didn't know what was causing these seemingly random, issues. And then a couple weeks later, I wind up in the hospital in Costa Rica, a third world hospital, public hospital, an absolute nightmare of a place that you don't ever want to be. And found out I had a staph infection that came from the surgery, from the last shoulder surgery. And it had and during those 3 months from the time of the surgery to the time I found out about it, it had completely destroyed, eaten all of the cartilage, tendons, and some of the bone in my left shoulder. It had eaten all the cartilage and tendons in my right shoulder. It had gotten to the bloodstream and traveled fortunately to my left ankle, because it could have easily gone to my brain or heart and I'd be dead. So they say I'm lucky that it only, once it got transient or septic or whatever they call it, when it starts, gets mobile, leaves that one joint where, it got in, I was fortunate that it only went to those 3 joints and not to somewhere inoperable or somewhere that would have killed me anyway. So it got to the left ankle and did a bunch of damage there, ate up all the cartilage and some of the bone. And then I had to, they could only do but so much in Costa Rica. Basically, they didn't do any clean out surgery. They put me on some antibiotics. Once they could get a blood test that didn't show the staph infection, they said that they had cured it and sent me home, said I'm fine.
Wow.
So I went home and wasn't at all fine. And within a couple of weeks, through talking to people back here, fortunately I've got, family members that are, in the healthcare community, nurses and lifelong nurse, my Aunt Lynn, and she, had connections with doctors she was talking to and professionals that worked in infectious diseases and stuff like that, and got people on the phone with me and said, hey, you got to get up here, you got to do this right. So I got onto a plane, flew up to RDU, got taken by ambulance from RDU to Rex Hospital, and they put me into surgery the very next morning. This was Saturday night I flew in. Sunday morning I had 3 doctors doing surgery Sunday morning. 2 of them came off the golf course to come and do this emergency surgery, 1 on each shoulder and 1 on my ankle, all at the same time, and saved my life. And
wow.
The entire time I went through all of this, not once I had to piece it all together that this was a staph infection that came from that surgery. But not once did any doctor, nurse, anybody that I ran into in either country, not once did anybody give any sort of admittance or indication that it could have even
guilt.
possibly had come from that surgery. Like that's how much they cover each other's asses. Like it's such a and if they had just said, hey, after surgery there's a possibility of infection and it can be this serious, and all you have to do is just get a blood test to see if or a series of several blood tests for the next several months after surgery to make sure that you haven't developed an infection, then all of it could have been prevented. It could have been caught right away. It would have been an easy, simple course of antibiotics, kill the staph infection before it does any damage, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
But instead of that, they you know, I went back and looked through the waiver that I signed before the surgery, and buried on the final page, the last paragraph somewhere in there, there's one little line in there that says something about there is a possibility of infection. Doesn't say staph, anything like that. It just says a possibility of infection from surgery. They have you sign that like the hour before you go under anesthesia and you're out for surgery. Like they don't really, and they're sitting
They're
there.
just like, sign this, please.
Yeah, they're sitting there waiting for you to sign it, and it's like several pages. So like you kind of skim through it under pressure. Like, okay, they're waiting for you for surgery. Hurry up and sign it. It's so terrible. So then when I finally pieced it all together was when I was going through this. Raleigh Infectious Disease is who treats post-op, operation staph infections. And it was one of the nurses there that said almost every patient they have is there at Raleigh Infectious Disease for post-op staph infections. Raleigh Infectious Disease would not exist if it wasn't for post-op staph infections.
That's scary, especially since you didn't live here and you were so far away when you realized what happened.
Even if I lived here, by the time I recognized that there was a problem that needed hospital attention, the damage was already done.
Yeah.
By the time I couldn't raise my arm, that shoulder was destroyed. By the time I couldn't raise the other, that shoulder was destroyed. By the time my ankle blew up, that ankle was destroyed.
So how's the recovery now?
Oh, it's been terrible, man. I've had to have, I don't know if you can see the scars on the shoulders, but I've had to have total reverse shoulder replacement surgery on both arms. So what that means is where normally your upper arm bone has a ball that goes into your shoulder socket, mine's reverse. So now the arm bone is cut off, and there's this metal thing inserted into the marrow that comes up that forms a socket. Now there's this mechanical ball coming from my shoulder, so it's hence the reverse shoulder replacement.
Yeah.
The ankle's fried. They want to cut my leg off right below the knee. I've had several different opinions on that, and there's no option other than to just deal with it, with just bone on bone.
Do you think it'd be better to lose it? I mean, I guess, do you think...
This is why I don't want to cut it off, is I'm thinking that with AI right now, I feel like technology could come up with new, progress and medicine with, through AI. And I hate to cut it off now, and then all of a sudden...
A month later, we learn how
Chat GPT is like, hey, guess what? We know how to replace ankles now.
You'd be in bed going, God damn it!
Right? Like, I only waited 6 more months. So, so my game plan now is to, which is I've always wanted to do this anyway, is to live on a boat. And so I'm gonna buy, entry-level used yacht, live aboard, and I ain't got that far to walk anyway, from one end to the other. Be a 40-foot boat.
Are you so you said like a small yacht. So like a
live aboard.
I don't know what that means, but
like a it's going to have like one solid bedroom, bathroom with shower, and then a second bedroom might be like a crew quarters.
So kind of like my brother's boat.
I haven't seen your brother's boat.
He had a 44-foot Sea Ray with a 14-foot beam.
Okay.
It had 2 bedrooms, a kitchen, a living room.
Might be very similar. Was it Flybridge?
Yeah. No, it wasn't a Flybridge.
Yeah, so I'm looking at I want a Flybridge, I think. I want a legit cockpit, rear cockpit for fishing. But yeah, something like that. Maybe not even.
You could Lieutenant Dan it though if the leg was gone.
Yeah, see, I just don't even want to. I don't even want to cut it off though, man. I want to just I want to give it some time and see if Anyway, the point of all that is anybody that's going into
I hate that
surgery.
we started with it.
Well, I wanted to start with that because just in case, if anybody just, listens to the first 5 minutes and cuts this off, I want them to hear this. If, as a public service announcement from the Grizz, if there's nothing else I
Okay.
can get across to the world,
I can stand
I
behind
want
that.
y'all to hear this. If you ever go into surgery or anybody you love ever goes into surgery for anything, make sure afterwards, if you got to pay it out of pocket to go get a blood test, to test for, so there's not a direct test for staph infection. You got to, the way it's, what you have to test for is elevated C-reactive protein, if I understand it correctly. And you can look into this, if you're going into surgery, look into this pre-surgery to make sure you get this right. But I think the test you want to have done is C-reactive protein count. And if that's elevated, it's an indication that there could be an infection. And then they have to do, they have to culture, they have to run a culture to grow it to see what grows. And then they can tell if it's staph, if it's MRSA, which is like antibiotic resistant.
So if I had to summarize this, I'd say, get yourself tested after a surgery.
100%. Yeah. No. Yeah. Don't rely on what the doctors tell you, because they're not going to tell you. They're going to gaslight you. They came up with this imaginary vine theory with me. They said, oh, you must have, had been walking somewhere and got scraped.
Oh, sure, because it's not their fault.
Exactly.
Yeah, we could talk about that all night.
But the fact that they came up with this out of the blue, like they had it off the hip, ready to go, this imaginary vine theory that staph lives in your skin, which is true. There's the last time I had heard the word staph was in wrestling practice in high school. Like make sure you bathe because there's staph, and but I never heard that word again until all of a sudden now I've got it from a surgery, and now it's deadly, and now I'm losing possibly losing limbs because of it.
Yeah.
Which
we can dive back into, and I want to. That's the brilliance of Grizzz. He knew to throw that out there in the first 5 minutes of the episode.
Yeah,
because that's when everybody watches.
It's the most important thing to it's my public service announcement.
That's good. That's good. It's out there, and it doesn't play a role in most of our story.
Yeah,
but it did happen to you. This all started like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, man. It's been 4 years now, right?
Yeah. Which I think I saw a picture of you in Costa Rica. See, we're going backwards though.
Right.
We're working our way down.
That's all right.
Which we can do if you want, but I think we should jump back now. We've got that out of the way of the current situation of Grizzz. But let's go back to young Grizzz.
All right.
So we're at
pre-Grizzz.
All
right. Eric Langford, back in the day.
Yeah. Let's start there. Let's start like end of high school, or did you play sports?
I did play sports. I played a lot of sports. I play, before high school, I was on swim team. I actually set.
I don't see you as a swimmer,
dude.
You're a very hairy man.
I was a freestyle. I was a very good freestyle swimmer. I swam for North Hills Swim Club. My claim to fame, I got a lot of blue ribbons. My claim to fame was when I was 14 years old, swimming in the boys 13-14 group. We're at a meet, and the men's 15-18 medley relay team. Medley relay is you got each of the 4 strokes. One swimmer swims each of the 4 strokes, and their freestyler was sick, and I was better than their backup in 15-18. So they subbed me in last minute. I had no clue this was happening. They threw me in, and I'm under all this pressure at 14 years old to swim for the men's 15-18 medley relay, and I'm swimming anchor freestyle. So it starts off backstroke because you're starting off holding going backwards, and then I guess the second was probably, I don't remember if it was breaststroke or butterfly, and then one, then the other, and then I'm on the block, and then I dive in and they already had a monster lead. Like these guys were really, really good, like state level good. And so I dive in, and I'm just like, don't fuck it up, don't fuck it up, don't lose the lead. So I'm just, swimming for all I'm worth, just thrashing through the water, uh, you know, just so focused and so, just full of adrenaline. Like I forgot to breathe. Like I never breathed the entire way down. I did my kick flip, came back. I think I'd went all the way down, kick flipped, and came all the way back, and I never took a breath. Got to the wall and everybody's cheering, and I'm like, I guess we won. Not only did we win, but we set the TSA record for men's 15-18 medley relay, the Tar Heel Swimming Association medley. We
Wow.
actually set the record with me on anchor at 14 years old.
Nice. Congrats.
Yeah. Trust me, it didn't have anything to do with me. It was just
It had to do with you not
I just
breathing.
didn't fuck it up. Those guys were that good.
So what other sports were on the docket?
So I played soccer. I grew up playing soccer. I did all like the corner kicks, and I played defense. I did all the free kicks. I had a big leg, big foot, which ended up, transitioning into football, where I did all the punting and place kicking as well as defensive tackle. I played JV sports. Oh, I guess going through middle school, I did football and track. I did shot put, discus, and high jump in middle school, and I got an award for the most points scored for the entire year by a single individual, because I got first place at pretty much every single meet for shot put and discus, and then every now and then I'd sneak into third place on the high jump. And so I had no idea that award was even coming. I just, I was surprised to get that at the end of the season. That was my 8th grade at Carroll Middle School. And then went into Sanderson, JV football. That was a big step up. I did the punting, place kicking, defensive tackle. Got into partying a bit. Ended up getting kicked out of Sanderson High School.
The school?
Yeah, I got permanently banned from Sanderson High School, and
you have to explain
and
that.
I got a 1-year suspension from Wake County Public School Systems. So I had to go up to Maine to a boarding school up there called Hyde in Bath, Maine.
So let's back up a little bit.
Yeah.
How did you get banned from Wake County Public Schools?
Yeah, it wasn't my fault.
It never is. It never is.
No, it wasn't my fault, man. But no,
so what's the alleged story?
So what happened was, this guy, Big John, was after me. I had a friend from my neighborhood, Damon, that he's freshman year at Sanderson. He's running through the parking lot. And I'm walking, to class, whatever, and he's running by, like, hey, where are you going, man? He's like, Big John's after me, Big John. And everybody knew who Big John was. He was like the school bully.
Yeah.
Big 6'4", big black guy that just, you stay away from Big John. So I guess I didn't know better. And so Damon runs by, and here comes Big John lumbering after him. And so I got in front of him, and I said, hey, man, hey, what's going on? What are you doing? He's like, I'm going to kill that white boy. I was like, well, that's my friend, man. You got to go through me to get to him. And as soon as I said it, I was like, why did I say that? And he backed down. He was by himself, and he was out of breath, and he backed down. He said, oh, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you. But he turned and walked away, and I said, at first I was like, all right, yeah, he backed down. And then life was hell for the next year. He kept coming after me. And we used to hang out at a place called the Raleigh Billiards Club up on Creedmoor Road, pool hall up there. That's where I met most of my friends, and friends from like Leesville and High, and like all my friends that a lot of my friends I still hang out with to this day. That's where I met them, was up there at that pool hall. Well, Big John came up there one night. We were up there, and apparently he was with a gang called the Raleigh Underground, I think it was, and they're affiliates of the Crips.
Oh,
and
shit.
They had brought in Crips from out of town, and it was just like a sea of black just came flooding into the pool hall, and I was with my friend Mike, not you, obviously.
Yeah.
We were walking towards the front door, and then they all come in through the door, and then all of a sudden I see Big John ducking his head to come in through the door. I'm like, oh shit. And I was actually on a hallucinogenic at the time, so I turned around and I was like, I gotta get out of here. I can't deal with this right now. So I actually ran behind the bar, and the owner of the pool hall, Lynn, Big John saw me, comes running after me, and Lynn had pulled out a stun gun and chased him. He kept trying to come behind the bar, and she chased him out. And then I ran out the back door, and some friends of mine got me out of there. I believe that was Meredith.
So that's what pushed
me out of there. Okay, so they were up there looking for me. The gang members had a description. I had long hair at the time, so they had a description of white guy, long hair. So they just started jumping every white guy with long hair. The Chinese lynch mob were friends of ours. They were in the bar at the time. They had a restaurant on the same strip mall as that place. Keo of the lynch mob, he was a friend of mine going back to middle school at Carroll. Toby was dating my girlfriend at the time was Robin, and her friend was Toby's girlfriend. So we had a connection there. And anyway, so they were at the bar when I ran behind the bar, and they said, "Hey, what's going on? You need some help?" And I said, "Yeah." And then they got up to go and fight those guys when I was sneaking out the back door. Anyway, so Keo ends up getting shot on Sanderson campus because of the aftermath of that. And when the questioning came out, everybody got pulled to the office and questioned, like, what happened, and my name kept getting brought up.
Oh.
So the principal, and investigators, officers, whatever, kept hearing my name getting brought up and everybody's story, and I was the common denominator. And so, and I had kind of been on note. I had already had some detentions, and caught at the smoking tree, and different things that, I was already kind of on, the naughty list. So
yeah,
they needed somebody to scapegoat, to crucify, whatever. So that was me. So I went to up to Maine, and actually was kind of glad to get out of town because I was literally.
You were a wanted man.
I was a wanted man, yeah. Like I was in fear for my life at 15 years old, So I was happy to get out of town for a year and let things blow over. Came back, and then I couldn't go back to Sanderson. Still banned from that campus, but I was able to go to Broughton and graduated there. So,
okay. So,
while I was in Maine, I continued. When I first got to Maine, it was during wrestling season, and I'd never wrestled before. And this was like a reform school, so like you had to play sports, and the sports practices were really intense, and like they'd have practices where like practice wouldn't be over until a certain number of people puked, things like that, stuff they can't do in this, day and age, but they did back then. But I did wrestle, and I wrestled at 189, which was the one weight class below heavyweight. I wrestled at 189, and we had a wrestle off in practice to see who was going to go represent the school at that weight class. And I actually, having never wrestled before, won the spot for 189 through a gimmick move that they taught us in practice. And I could show you. Do you have like two little action figures? Like
I don't.
No, okay.
No, but
have you wrestled?
I have. Well, I have not wrestled in a professional setting with the.
Yeah.
But you don't. I mean,
anyway,
if it was a niche move that you learned,
it was a niche move. I can try to explain it.
That's okay.
If anybody's wrestled, they could probably follow this and understand. So basically, I was just strong enough to not get pinned, and I could, was quick enough to, somebody try to shoot a leg, I could push them down and I could play defense until I got to where I started off on top. So the way wrestling goes, there's 3 rounds. You start off standing up, then one person's down on their hands and knees, and then the third round, if you make it that far, it switches the other person on their hands and knees. So, I did the same move in practice to win the spot to represent, and then I actually won my first wrestling match doing this same move. The way it works is when I'm on top, so you have to have, one hand on elbow, one hand on back, and then you got to have one knee down and one foot down. So traditionally, you're going to have the front knee down and the back foot down. But technically, by the rules, it doesn't say which knee and which foot has to be up and down. So you can reverse that. So if I had there's this trick where if you have your front foot down and your back knee down, which is what I did, and in fact, when I started like that, I set up like that, the referee said, "Hey, you've got your wrong setup," and I knew what I was doing, and the coach knew what I was doing, so I just looked back at the coach. I was like, "Hey, help," gave him the eye, and then so he signaled to the ref. He's like, "Yeah, let him. You can do it either way." And then the ref looked at the other team's coach and to see if he had a problem. He's like, "Yeah, I guess you can." And kind of the other team's coach just kind of smirked, like, "Dumbass,"
Yeah.
So, but by doing the front foot up, I'm able to, where I'm holding that arm, kick my leg out and hook that arm. So now I've got that arm trapped in my knee.
Yeah.
And then this hand that's on the back, I go underhook the other arm, circle over the back of the neck, roll it, turn them upside down like that. And then now I've got his arms coming behind him. He's on his neck. His body's up in the air behind my body. And I've got his 2 arms locked like this, coming this way, and I throw my feet backwards, and I've got all my leverage like that. So he's pinned on his neck like that, upside down.
Pretty much done.
Done. Couldn't move. Couldn't tap out. Screaming bloody murder. But and the crazy thing was, when I did that in practice to win the spot, the coach immediately, when I got that position, blew the whistle, and I it was like, match is over. But in the actual in the actual match, the ref didn't recognize the move and couldn't see definitively that my opponent's shoulders were touching the mat. He's just like, vertical, body's up here, his arms are out here, his head's going that way. So he's kind of on his neck, the back of his head and his neck. And I guess he kept looking to see where the shoulders touched, and he didn't know what to do. So, and this guy couldn't tap out. He's just screaming because he's in pain. And I felt bad for him. And I'm looking back and forth from the ref to the other team's coach, and like, somebody do something, man. I'm killing this guy. And the other team's coach finally, he's looking for a white flag to
he's gonna throw in the towel.
Throw in the towel, and they couldn't find anything. So he had one. I'm sitting here watching this happen. He had one of his wrestlers, pull his undershirt off, and he took that and threw it in, to end the match. And
jeez Louise.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah, it was brutal.
So let's fast forward a little.
Oh, and then so then just fast forward to track. So I ended up doing pole vault. I did shot put discus up there, and then I did pole vault. Believe it or not. Yeah.
I don't believe it.
I did pole vault. So at that point, I was too big to do high jump, and so I did my shot put discus, and then you can do a third sport, event and track. And I saw the guys over there. I'd already done my throws, and I, just had nothing else to do but kill time. And I watched the pole vaulters, and I'm like, man, this looks fun. So like, let me see if I can do that. So I went over there and said, hey guys, let me try that. And they didn't have a pole that was heavy for rated for my weight, but they had this just they're like fiberglass. They're poles that kind of flex.
Yeah.
but they have like a starter pole that's just metal. And they said, well, I guess you can try this. And so I did that, and I just like launched myself up, made it over, the starting height where they, and again, I ended up sneaking my way into third place like once, doing pole vault. So that was fun.
Nice.
I got all conference defensive tackle in football that year.
Nice.
That was cool. Yeah. Anyway, so then went back to Broughton and for my senior year, and finished out football there. Ended up getting an injury in my jaw that knocked this cartilage it's in between your jaw hinges to your skull, and it's never been right since. I couldn't wear a helmet anymore. I ended up having to quit football towards the end of the season, and sometimes to this day it still pops out of joint.
Oh,
yeah.
Jeez. All right.
That was the end of my sports career.
That's a pretty good run.
Actually, no, I did. I played rugby in down in Wilmington, Cape Fear men's team for 1 year. Got the shit beat out of me. I had no clue what I was doing.
That's a rough sport. That's
no
hockey on the ground.
Yeah. I never understood the rules. The entire time I was playing, they just kept having to tell me where to go and what to do. I never understood what was going on.
Yeah, I never understood the huddles.
Yeah.
The big huddles when the ball's in the middle and you're all just touching each other. Never understood that. Like, why do you have to start like that?
I never understood any of it.
That's a pretty wild run. And
I had a good run, man. But and all that led to all the damage I did, which led to the surgeries, which then surgery after surgery led to.
Well, we're not even there yet. Now. We're not there. Yeah. You're still mobile at this point.
Yeah.
And we're starting college.
All right. Yeah. All right. So UNCW.
Okay.
I applied to UNCW and NC State. I only really wanted to go to UNCW. I had to be at the beach, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I'm a beach guy, ocean, fishing. So UNCW, I get down there freshman year. Of course I need to work, or not, I guess I didn't have to. My parents were paying for college for me for undergrad. But I wanted some extra money, and I didn't need to spend that much time on school. So I wanted to be a bouncer. What else am I going to do, right?
Hey, why not?
So
just getting off a rugby run?
No, the rugby actually came several years later.
Oh.
I actually ended up on the rugby team because of I was one of the bouncers at one of the clubs I was working at was on the rugby team.
Okay.
That was I think 3 years after I got there.
All right. So,
but no, I just so I wanted to bounce, and I was like, well, let me just call up some clubs, and I just went through the phone book and just started calling. Every club, just literally in alphabetical order. and every club I call, they're like, well, where have you worked? Who do you know? Nowhere, nobody. Okay, click. And so it didn't take long to realize, okay, well, you gotta know somebody. Like, how you can even get your foot in the door? But I'm a little stubborn. I didn't give up. I just kept going, and finally I get to the P's, to Palomino. The Palomino Club, the gun club. You know. So the Palomino was the first and only club to not just immediately turn me down. They said, well, who do you know? Where have you worked? Nowhere, nobody. Well, why do you want to work here? And I was like, well, I want to work somewhere. I'm new to town, and and I think I'd be good at it.
Yeah, this is my expertise.
So been in a lot of fights. Some karate background. Just whatever I could say to be like, give me a chance. I lift a lot of weights, play football, wrestling. All that. Come on.
Yeah.
Give me.
So what do you want to hear?
So yeah. So they tell me to come down for an interview, which I do, and they interview me and size me up and say, all right, well, we'll give you a shot on. So the Palomino was the biggest club in Wilmington. It was on Carolina Beach Road, I think, or somewhere. Anyway, so they had a country night and they had a hip hop night. So they started me off on the country night. I think it was Wednesday nights, and
so they had a white night and a black night.
Yeah, and then they had bands on the weekends. So started me off on country night, and it's what you could expect from a big redneck country bar where this in between of army base and a marine base with,
Oh yeah.
with a bunch of cowboys and rednecks and marines and yeah, it was
Got your work cut out for you.
got your work cut out for you. Yeah, like there wasn't any shortage of fights, and you weren't you had to work. You had to work. Let's say that. And they didn't pay a lot. It was $7 an hour plus tip out from the bar, which usually ended up being pretty good. And not it didn't take too long for them to start putting me on hip hop night, which that's where they got the nickname the Gun Club. The newspaper, the local Wilmington Star News, had nicknamed it the Gun Club because of the shootings. Mostly in the parking lot, sometimes inside the club. I wasn't aware of all that when I signed up for the gig. But I got to see some cool bands. David Allan Coe. I was on stage with David Allan Coe. The Hells Angels were there for the David Allan Coe. They followed around David Allan Coe. It's one of my favorite country artists. And
Okay.
when we're working the club, we rotate from door to back where the bathrooms are to there's one bar that back there too, and then the main bar on the other side, and then the stage on this side. So it's so and every bouncer kind of does that 4-point rotation. So on my rotation, and we're very aware of the Hells Angels because they're we've gotten them roped off in their own private section right in front of the stage. And what was I, 18 years old at this time, and I'm like, I am not getting paid enough to fuck with the Hells Angels. Like whatever, like, if they get out of line, I'm just looking for the nearest exit myself. But they were running their own security, so they had their own guys. Like they had like the their head guys.
And they were coming on hip hop night.
No, they were there. They came for the David Allan Coe concert on the weekend. Yeah, that was the only time we saw them. They were following David Allan Coe on tour.
I gotcha.
Okay, so but we actually had that place on lockdown so well that when I rotated to the back where the bathrooms were, that's where they had 2 of their guys stationed where they could see the entire club. And when I rotated back there, they were kind of standing where my station was supposed to be, so I just kind of just didn't go where I was supposed to go. Just kind of stayed over to the side and kind of pretending like I didn't see them. And but they were eyeballing me, man. I'm just like, I could see it on my peripheral vision. And I'm like, why, God damn it, why are they eyeballing me? And finally, like, they're trying to get, one of the guys trying to get my attention. Finally, I can't ignore him, but so much. I'm like, hey, okay, yeah, hey, what's up, man? And he's like, hey, come here. I'm like, okay. come over. I'm like, yeah, what's up? I'm trying to be cool and all. And he's like, hey, man, I just want to say, y'all did a great job tonight, man. This is I can't remember verbatim, but basically, this is the most controlled we've seen a David Allan Coe crowd, and we've been following him, for however many years. He just was giving me props on behalf of our staff, and I was like, "Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, we take pride in our work."
I'm cool as shit.
Meanwhile, I'm about to piss my freaking pants. Oh God, yeah, but
That's
that was
pretty
cool.
wild.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And then who else? The Jackal. You know the band Jackal?
No.
Jackal is a
but let's not take this off of you. So that was your first job.
That was my first job. So
and we're still talking about college.
So when that place got shut down, I from then could work any club in Wilmington. And
so you got your street cred.
I got my street cred. And then all I had to say from then on out was I worked at the Palomino. They're like, really? And then when can you start? and that
So now you were walking up into applications like Andrew Dice Clay.
So I was so then from there on, I was working the best.
Do I want to work here?
I was working the best nights at the best clubs. I ended up working strip clubs. I ended up managing So I ended up working as a bouncer at Anastasia's, the strip club, and the only strip club in Wilmington. Then they got bought out by Tony from Ultra Biker's Dream, and he turned into Diamond Dolls, made me head of security. And then soon after,
At what age? You
I
were
was
head of security?
20.
Right
Yeah, I was
on.
20.
Still going to school.
Oh yeah, still going to school full time. Yeah, and then soon after being head of security,
That must have worked out
became,
well with the ladies.
Yeah.
I'm head of security.
So, well,
and getting my undergrad.
I was dating a couple of the girls there.
Okay.
So, I didn't really have to leave the club.
You were kind of seeing.
Yeah, no, I ended up dating this one girl, Destiny, for a while. So, we actually went on the Jerry Springer show together. This was when I was managing Diamond Dolls.
Okay. Let's pause right there.
All right.
And recap that you're still in college.
Still in college, yeah.
Okay, we're about 20 years old.
20 years old, yep.
Head of security at a strip club.
I'm manager at this point.
Manager of a strip club. And you and Destiny get an invitation.
Yeah, Susan.
To go.
Susie Ellis, I think it was. Destiny, yeah. So
we can keep her Destiny. It's not going to hurt nothing.
So I'm in the office.
To Jerry Springer
show. So, our club had already been on the Jerry Springer show once before.
Really?
Yeah. With another one of our this was before it was Diamond Dolls. This was back when it was Anastasia's, I believe. Before I was there. So, they had us in their Rolodex, let's say. Yeah. So, this is a Sunday night. I'm in the office. It's dead, really slow. The owner, Tony, was having the after party at his house. He already was there partying. I don't even think he even came in that night. I opened the club, set everything up. A lot of nights were like that. I just run the whole thing and, deposit the money at the bank end of the night, and
that was that.
And Sundays were dead, so I'm just sitting in the office, and then I get a knock on the door, and one of the girls is like, "Hey, there's somebody from the Jerry Springer shows on the phone for you." I'm like, "Okay." So I'm thinking it's Tony, the owner, playing a prank, because he would do that sometimes. So, not that specific prank, but do something every now and then. It'd be some sort of prank. So I go behind the bar, answer the phone, and it's some girl that says, "This is so and so from Jerry Springer show, and want to know if y'all want to come on the show." I'm like, "Okay, so what's up?" So. Yeah, at this point, the few girls that were working that night had, migrated to the bar to, see what's going on, because, it was really dead. And there was only a few customers, and, it wasn't a huge club, so they could see there was something going on. So they're all at the bar, and I'm on the phone. I'm like, "Yeah, maybe. Like, what's up?" And they said, "Well, we're looking for a guy that works there that's dating one of the girls that works there. And then wants to give an ultimatum, and I'm like, "Okay."
So they were kind of giving you a plot.
Yeah, they had the scenario. They said, "You have a scenario like that," and I was just like, "Hold on one second." Cover the phone, and by this time,
that's me.
I've got the girls there like, "Hey, any of you girls want to go on the Springer show?" And I just started seeing Destiny, and she's like, "Yeah, I'll go." I was like, yeah, we'll do it. Yeah. We got that covered. And they're like, so then she laid out like, "Okay, well, it needs to be guy dating a girl that wants to give an ultimatum, that she has to stop working there."
So they set you up with a script.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I got to say this, because I did have to sign a waiver that said that every word I said on the Springer show was my own words, uninfluenced, and that if I ever said anything other than that, I could be sued, like, without contest for however many hundreds of thousands of dollars. So every word I said on the Springer Show was my own words, just in case anybody from the Springer Show is listening.
That's what happened.
That's what happened.
That's exactly what happened.
So this was Sunday night. I'm still thinking it's Tony fucking with us. But I'm like, yeah. It's like 10 o'clock Sunday night. We're getting ready to close up anyway. They're like, all right, well, we'll call you back in like an hour with a flight confirmation. So sure enough, they call back in an hour. And they say, okay, we're going to have a limo pick you up at 5 o'clock the next morning to take you to the airport to fly you to Chicago.
That's wild.
And,
so you're still thinking,
I'm still
whatever.
Thinking so they said, where do you want the limo to pick you up? So I gave them Tony's address. Because we're going there for the after party anyway. So I'm like, all right, well, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Let's go to Tony's. And so we close up the club. We go over to Tony's, and he's already fucked up. And I'm like, Tony, guess what, man? We're going on the Springer show tomorrow. He's like, oh, really? Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, whatever. I don't even know if he even registered what I was saying. I'm still thinking he, had so anyway. So we get into our party, and 1 turns into 2, 3 turns into 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, knocking on the door, and all of a sudden Tony's freaking out, like, oh shit, put everything away, put your clothes on, everybody. And the strippers are looking for clothes, and everybody's trying to hide the alcohol, and then somebody's peeping out the blinds, and it's like, oh, there's a limo out there, some dude in a suit. I'm like, oh shit, Tony, yeah, that's the limo driver.
That's the joke you had. That's me going on yesterday.
I told you we're going to the Springer show, and I'm waiting for him to be like, oh, gig's up, and he's like, what? I was like, okay. I was like, all right, I'll play along. So I was like, come on, Destiny. So we go get in the limo, and I think they're gonna like drive us around the block and come back up and be like, ha ha. No, they took us to the fucking airport and dropped us off. And put us on a plane.
Oh my God.
And we flew to Chicago, first class. And
after being up all night.
Oh yeah.
Hopped into a limo.
Got in a limo, went to the airport.
Well, at least it was first class.
Oh yeah, first class. Flew to Chicago, and they put us in a
At what point were you like, holy shit, this is real?
Dude, you know me. I'm game. I'm game for whatever. I was like, oh,
no, I mean, was it when you got dropped off at the airport? Were you like, is this for real?
Yeah.
Because you still had to get tickets and stuff, right?
No, they had the tickets.
They had the tickets.
They had everything lined up, man. We didn't pay $1 for anything, man. Everything was lined up.
Well, I mean, you still need your ID to get in and stuff, don't you? Or to have the ticket?
ID, driver's license, yeah.
So at that point, when they're asking for your driver's license, you're like, holy crap, this is real.
When the limo took us to the airport, I was like, okay, I guess we're doing this. Like I thought
I won't be at work tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to the Jerry Springer show.
Yeah, no, I had to call my mom from the hotel in Chicago and be like, so Mom, just so you know, I'm going to be on the Jerry Springer show tomorrow. I'm in Chicago right now.
Did that air?
Oh yeah.
We have to find it.
Oh,
I want to see it.
Not only did it air, but it aired and aired and aired. It was a hit show. It
really
kept airing, and they
do you have this? You gotta have this.
I'll tell you what. They played it over and over again, and I always knew when they had just played another rerun, because when I was walking on campus, I'd get a whole lot of like double like wait, and they must have just played another rerun again. Everybody on campus is like, wait, is that? Because I mean, I had long hair.
Oh, I remember.
Mustache,
I remember.
goatee.
Yeah.
Like I was a unique looking grizzly bear. So yes, we had a copy on VHF for all you VHS, yeah, for all you young bucks out there that don't know what that is. That's like a cassette tape but large that they put movies on, and somebody had recorded it off the TV, and that was going in circulation, and my wife got a hold of it and disappeared it.
Really?
Yeah.
Was this Tiffany?
Tiffany. Yeah. She made it disappear.
That's coming down the road, and that could even be the second half of this episode, because I'll tell you what, we are just getting to mid-college.
Yeah.
Still in Wilmington.
We're past mid college. Yeah, we're about 3/4 through college.
3/4 of the way through. So what was the mass? Did you come back to school in Raleigh, or did you finish in Wilmington?
Oh no, I graduated at UNCW. I graduated actually with I got on academic probation because my grades were getting really bad when I was managing the strip club. Man, there'd be like, weekends where I didn't leave the club. Like,
well,
I'd
you
sleep
can't do.
I'd sleep on the
you
couch.
can't do 24-hour days. Date Destiny, go to Jerry Springer, and get an A.
Man, we were having after parties. That, like, we'd
on a Tuesday.
We'd put on the fog machine, fog the whole place out with laser lights. Tony would run a line of down the entire length of the bar.
My God.
Everybody'd grab a half a straw, and it was, all the girls would be naked wandering around on ecstasy, so you're wandering through the fog, you just kind of find a girl and pull her into the DJ booth or wherever. And there was a lot of nights like that that made school seem kind of irrelevant. And
at that age, I
but
I would say you've probably felt like you were living the dream.
I was living the dream.
Naked women and lasers and smoke.
I mean, the dream, man.
Yeah, you're still here.
So I was on academic probation. So what turned it around?
I think Magic at this point being close to 21. So I
wasn't even 21 yet.
That's what I'm saying. You're close to 21. And you got Magic Johnson bowing to you. Like, I am, you got Magic Johnson
I'm
going,
not worthy.
I am impressed with this man.
I was impressed with myself.
That's a wild ride, especially at that age.
It was magical, man. It was,
and you had like the, I guess the endurance, because you're still a kid.
Young enough to
handle
do it.
that.
I was working out a lot, trying to balance it as best I could, but it caught up with me. I ended up getting, so a couple things happened. I was on academic probation. I ended up getting a DUI, and I got caught with a couple of pills of X, and I got a 1-year probationary period because, my parents had bought me this used but fairly new Yukon, and I was in that vehicle when I got pulled. I wasn't even driving. I was actually pulled over, parked, getting ready to go in the club, and an undercover cop just walked up to the window, and I had the 3 pills sitting there. It was 4. I'd already eaten 1, and my roommate was sitting there, and 2 were for me and 2 were for him, and we were trying to decide whether we're going to eat them both now, or 1 now and 1 later. So I was like, well, at least we're going to eat 1. So I already ate 1, and he was still bullshitting, and then the cop, rolls up on his side of the window, and so anyway, because there was multiple pills, I get charged with
distribution,
maintaining a dwelling, which is, using a house or a vehicle to sell drugs out of.
Yeah.
So, which didn't make any sense, because you can't have, 1 single large pill, It's the same thing. Like, if you have a quarter bag of pot, that's personal. But if that's broken up into several dime bags, that's intent to sell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Distribution.
So if you got 3 pills, even though, who the fuck are you distributing to? It's 3 pills. And I had cash, but I also had an ATM receipt from like 10. I had just gone to the ATM before parking in front of the club. So I had an ATM receipt for within $10 I had about $200 in cash, and an ATM receipt within $10 of that $200 in cash. And I had the worst attorney in the world that didn't admit this to court or whatever,
Yeah. He didn't present you well.
Dude, I came to find out later that he had a daughter that was a little bit younger than me, and he gave me a lecture. He never believed that I wasn't selling drugs.
Oh.
Which I found out later. It was total bullshit. Like, anyway, so I lose the vehicle. I'm on a year of actual probation, which, which I took serious. I was on house arrest, for a year. I never got the felony because I did the year of probation and house arrest or whatever. And never broke my probation, and I didn't drink for a year, just worked out and got the strip club ended up getting bought out at that same time. There was another strip club that opened up in Wilmington that ended up buying out our strip club and turning it from Diamond Dolls to I can't remember. It's still open, I think, in Wilmington, but anyway, it's a
different name.
When they bought us out, they completely turned over the entire staff and brought in their own people. And so I was now out of a job. I was on probation, so I just focused on school and working out. And I turned around from academic probation to finishing. I got behind by a semester, so it took me 4.5 years to get my first degree in business management. But I was on the dean's list for the last year and a half.
Nice.
I did summer school courses to make up for it.
Don't forget to keep making love to this thing.
I got I ended up getting an A in statistics, which was the hardest course in the Cameron School of Business. And then I got a second degree in finance. So I ended up getting 2 degrees in 4.5 years.
Wow. So this is the
finishing
year,
my last 2 years on the dean's list.
Nice.
Yeah.
So this would be no strip club, no drinking.
Yeah.
Because I know you're as smart as a whip. I know
just working out and studying. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And I got in the best shape of my life. I had a 6-pack, like
What's that?
I brought pictures. I actually brought pictures. I was gonna show you some pictures in the photo album before we start the podcast, just so you could be like, oh, I want to hear stories about.
Well, I remember you when you came into McGregor's and I first met you.
Yeah,
you were really in shape.
Yeah, but I was past the 6-pack days.
Well,
I'm pretty sure I was past that. At that
you
point.
were close to the 6-pack days. Yeah. You might have been early. It had to be early 20s because we're talking. It was maybe 2000.
Yeah. As soon as I left Wilmington is when I met you at the draft house. Yeah, and then
because you still had the long hair.
Yeah,
you kind of had a Tom Cruise look about you. Honestly.
And then you came and I think I had short hair at that point, didn't I? Or did it went back and forth, short, long, short, long.
It did go back and forth, and honestly, I can't remember. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, and then you came to work with us.
At
Langford Construction. We starting out in Chapel Hill, and then I got my first solo project.
Off of Six Forks.
Atlantic Place.
Atlantic and
Six Forks and Atlantic Avenue, yeah. We got some stories from that place.
yeah. Well, the lull.
The lull. Oh, yeah, that's right. Those kids that tried to go four-wheeling, in the undeveloped
Well,
part
did
of the
they
property.
go try to go four-wheeling, or did we go four-wheeling?
Well, we did some four-wheeling. We did some four-wheeling. But then there was one night where they're after hours, stay working late,
Yes.
being working late, putting in those hours, and these kids they come up and they say, oh, we got our car stuck, and I'm like,
well, they had like a Jeep Cherokee,
something like that, and I'm like, this is private property, and I was like, well, whatever, I guess I can pull you out, so I'll take the lull back there, and
well, for people who don't know what a lull is, it's a 4-wheel drive forklift for construction sites with a boom.
Yeah.
And that boom can go out about 30 feet?
Oh, it could go up 3 story. It could put a pallet of lumber up, of 2x4s or
So you in your infinite wisdom
plywood
said,
up on
I
the
can put
roof
these
of a
forks.
3-story building.
You said, I can put these forks underneath this Jeep Cherokee and pull them out.
Well, let me tell you why I had that idea is because there was, I don't know if you remember the story from out in Chapel Hill where one of the contractors, I don't know, was
Renee,
one of the contractors.
hello, how are you?
I just met two of the most wonderful dogs.
Oh, did you meet Julius and everybody? This is
Okay,
Eric's
so
father coming into play.
This is actually perfect because he can give the details of this story I'm about to tell.
Okay.
So we're live right now on a podcast, and there's the camera.
Yeah. Stay next to Eric.
So,
You're good to go.
Come over here. So I'm about to bring you in to give the details of the story about in Chapel Hill at Summit Park. I think it was down at Hilltop actually.
Are you talking about the red Nissan
Hilltop
truck?
condos? When was it Carlos or somebody picked up a truck and put it on top of one of the shipping containers that we used to store materials. So here's Renee Langford himself, who was the general contractor for the entire history of Langford Construction, that can give you the details of this scenario. Go ahead.
Carlos is
Get in there.
Carlos is a brick mason that did the work for us on that project, and he's trying to do his work, and this one guy with an attitude parks his car right in front of everybody. And we had some big forklifts at the time. So Carlos takes the forklift that we had, picks up the truck, and puts it on top of a container to get it out of the way. It was perfect. It was perfect.
So this is where that idea may have came from then, for the moving of the vehicle.
Yeah. So when these kids got their Jeep Cherokee or whatever it was stuck while four-wheeling after dark on private property where we were building, and came asking for help as to what to do. I said, well, I got a low, I guess come and lift you guys out, no charge, do that just for free, no problem. And they said, oh yeah, please, thank you so much. So I drive the Lowell back down there, and they were stuck in the mud, on this trail that had trees on either side. So there was only one approach.
I do have wrong.
You could only approach this vehicle from the rear.
High rye.
So I ran the forks of the Lowell from the rear underneath, lifted
right
it
through
up,
his gas tank,
pulled it out, got them on the dry land, and they drove on out of there. And then
you put that fork right through his gas tank. Yeah.
That's not how I remember it. That's not how I remember.
Well, that's how I saw it.
Anyway, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Whether
So
it
that's
was
what you remember.
pushed it through it or came up from beneath it.
Because
Either way,
I actually suggested, let's just wrap a chain around his bumper, around the hitch, and just pull him out. And you were like, no, we don't have to do that. I'll just put the forks under the car. And I said, I don't know if that's a good idea, Eric. Right through the gas tank.
Anyway, so
stabbed it.
The next day, one of those kids' fathers comes up to the job site. I guess this was probably a Saturday, Friday or Saturday. So Monday, it would have been Monday. One of the kids' fathers comes up to the job site. I saw a gas tank. I'm like, whoa, back up a second. First of all, they were trespassing on private property, and I offered free of charge to go help them, get their stuck vehicle off of my private property that they did not have an invitation to be on in the first place. And it didn't take long for the guy to realize he didn't have much of a case here to ask for a new gas tank.
So I'll tell you what, your dad unexpectedly surprised us. I think this is a good time for a break.
Or why don't we give him a guest spot?
We can give him a guest spot if you want to be on it.
You got some stories to tell.
No, I'm good. Go ahead. take a break.
So
All
let's take a
take a
break.
break.
I bet you Relish has got some food
How
made
much
for
time,
us.
How much time we got?
Right now we're at an hour and 9 minutes, and
So
we've just gotten through college.
That's an episode right there.
That's an episode.
That's a
we
legit
just
episode.
Got, yeah,
All
we just got to you meeting me.
All right. Yeah.
So I think it's a good time to stop.
So let's wrap up this episode, and we'll start again with the next episode.
All right,
after-
we're gonna wrap up. We're gonna take a break.
Yeah.
We're gonna be back with Eric
All right, guys.
Grizzz.
Arr.